On behalf of the committee and the CFI, welcome to Deeside Gliding Club. Okay, this is a Boyne airfield from the air, from satellite. North is up here, east is this way, that's a Boyne over there, south that way, west off into the mountains that way. What you'll notice from looking at this is a really confined airfield, probably compared to what most of you are used to working. We've got the two runways, the north runway, south runway, parking area up here. There are normally going to be glider trailers here, gliders rigged here. It's very tight. So first and foremost, to make maximum use of the runways, what we're going to ask you is when you land, get all the way to the end of the runway, and that leaves runway behind you for the next guy coming in to land. If you'll notice, there are two yellow lines here. Ideally, we're looking for you to roll beyond these yellow lines and stop in this area if we're operating to the west, and roll beyond and stop in this area if we're operating to the east. If you can't manage it, get somebody. If you can't manage it at all, then practice with one of our instructors until you can manage it. If you've had a whoops and you haven't made it, then get your buddies to get you off the runway to clear that runway as quickly as you can, please. And then in those lines with clearing runways, if you see somebody has landed on the runway and they're in a nice area, give them a hand to get off the runway, clear the runways. That's what we're looking for. Get the runways clear as quickly as possible. We don't have the space for 20 gliders to come in and randomly park anywhere around. You're going to be coming in, landing on the runways, so give guys a hand to get themselves off the runway so you leave as much space as possible for guys coming in behind them. Car parking. Now, why we're on about car parking is because this tow down track is relatively close to the north runway. If you park in this area, you're going to cause people towing down to the west with gliders to deviate around you, come around here, they're going to impinge on the north runway before they get back in the track. So don't park there. If you've got to park your car, get out of the way there, get out of the way there. If you've got to park the glider back here, or take the glider down there and park it. Otherwise, you're going to cause people to block runways with gliders being towed. When we're operating from the east end, which isn't very often but does happen, that's an extremely restricted area. So in that case, park cars and gliders over in this area, and you can use this area here to park gliders as well, and then we'll stage you onto the runways and take off that way if we need you. But try and keep the tow down path as clear as you can and park with consideration out of the way, either off over there, down over here, or in this area there, and that'll help things out a lot. Okay, runways. We've got two runways, north runway and south runway. So the north runway is for launching. So the way you're looking at this just now, that's north, south, east, west. So this is the north runway. And that's normally the launch runway. So if we're operating to the west, we'll be lined up here and we'll launch in this direction. And if we're operating to the east, we'll be lined up here and we'll take off that way. The south runway is generally for landing. So try and land on the south runway. The yellow lines here don't indicate anything on these runways. All they're doing is indicating the cross onto the grass strip here. So yellow lines here, yellow lines there, there. Don't use those for reference points. They're just there to indicate where the grass strips are. We have a runway here, 23. We tend not to use it now. In the event that you come back and you find that the north runway is blocked, south runway is blocked, and there are people littered around in this one, by all means use it. You know, that's what it's there for. We keep grass cut. We don't use it by default, but if you need to use it, fill your boots. When we're launching, if we're launching off to the west, try and get forward signaler about here so the tuggy can see them. Again, launching off to the east, try and get a forward signaler. If there's lots of people around, delegate somebody off as forward signaler. On landing, said it before, gonna say it again, get to the end of the runway if you can. This doesn't mean touchdown here doing math knows what and screeching off the end in a shower of sparks and broken fiberglass. It means touchdown here, roll nicely off to the end of the runway. It says in the official notes, for every foot that you are short of these lines, you owe the CFI a measure of malt whiskey. Now he's a very nice CFI and he doesn't take you up on that, but try and stop in this area. Not in a shower of sparks and mangled fiberglass, but stop in this area if you can. If you can't, get somebody to give you a hand and get off and clear the runway. Okay, circuits. So, normal day. This is looking north again. You'll get used to that view. The wind is going to be from the west. Somewhere on good day, it's from the northwest. From a good and sporty day, it's from the southwest. From this direction in. So, looking at the airfield and scrolling around, and if you get sick when I'm doing this, that's a damn shame. You'll see that if the wind's from this direction, from the northwest, you'll be doing a left-hand circuit and you're going to trundle down this ridge. See the ridge? So there's a woodyard here, there's a ridge here. How we tend to set it up is if you're at about 1,000 to 1,500 feet-ish, high keys the woodyard, trundle down this ridge, do your diagonal, come round. Notice how close in that pointer is, come round and land on the south runway. If the wind is from the south, you'll be doing a right-hand circuit, which is down here. Now there's also a ridge that runs down here. This is Scar Hill, which you can see behind the clubhouse. Kind of set up high key around the grumpy guy with the horses. Trundle down the ridge, do your diagonal, come in and land on the south runway. It's easy. When it's windy, and it quite often is windy, as you do your diagonal here, there's a hole. Be prepared to dump the circuit and come around and land in on the south runway. If you need to, land on the north runway. But if you get into a hole with sink there, truncate the circuit and come round. Conversely, from the north, if I can come round and show you this one properly, if you're coming down a left-hand circuit down here, as you turn diagonally here, there's quite often a hole in this area as well. Actively manage your circuits. Don't set off 800 feet way off over here and trundle around and do your final turn at 300 feet out here. Actively manage your circuit. What the circuits look like. So this is the traditional BGA circuit on a right-hand circuit coming in. So if we've got wind from the southwest, this would be come down over the ridge, do your nice diagonal, do your base leg, final turn no lower than 300 feet. That's important around here. Judge that, don't get low. Trundle in, round out, ground run, beyond the yellow line, no whiskey involved. These are the BGA circuit views. So at a Boyne, how we say this, if it's windy, if there's a lot of wind from the west and you're landing off towards the west, this is your circuit, nice and tight. On a nice benign day, this is your circuit. If you want to spend money on glider repairs, this is your circuit. So unless it's nil wind, don't do this one. Or unless you're very high. Very high is not a bad thing sometimes. So Roy's top tip on this one. If you find that you turn into wind and your ground speed is 0, bury the nose, get the airspeed up and actually move towards the runway. If you find that you're doing a circuit and the wind altitude at 300 feet is 60 knots, and you turn and you point at 60 knots of wind, you're going to come down like a helicopter. That's not going to work. You'll notice your ground speed on your downwind run. If it looks like you're doing Mach 1, it's windy. Truncate the circuit. If it looks fairly normal, do that one. If there's no wind at all and you're very high, do that one. Okay, local low-level airspace. So where we are, sunny Scotland by the sea, you're in this area here. So as you can see around this, there's not too much airspace. There's stuff around Aberdeen, a bit of the airline showing up here, restricted area over here, but that's not local, so we're just going to concentrate on this part here. So close to us, you have, this is the airfield here. Where you're likely to be flying if it's wavy is around the lochs, around this area. The Boyne village is here. And if you notice this line down here, that's Aberdeen CTA. That starts 3,000 feet above sea level, 2,500 feet above the airfield. And if you stay below that, you can quite gleefully trundle all the way over to here where you're running towards the CTR. We tend not to go east at low level. It's not great, there's not much clearance on things. But if you notice, from the lochs to there, not very far. If you're going south, you're going to run into the CTA again, or into this airline, which is down here, which is Papa 600. So I'll show you that in 3D, which is on this one, so you get some better view on what's going on. So this is the airfield, this is Wilson off in one of his wanders again. That's Aberdeen CTA. This is crossing area Alpha and Papa 600. And the base of this starts at flight level 55. This is crossing area Bravo, again on Papa 600, and the base of this starts at flight level 85. If you need to go into the CTA in Aberdeen, if you're above the base, below the top, you can get them on 119.055. Very accommodating, very nice, also very busy, so you might have to wait a while to get in there. So that's the local low-level stuff. Okay, medium level stuff. Flight level 100 to flight level 195. So looking at the 2D, you can see that Papa 600 is now closing off the east coast for us. And over here, you can see that we have November 560 showing up. Southern part of which goes down to Loch Tay, northern part goes up to Inverness. It's clearer to see in 3D, so we'll go into that. Before you start getting up into this stuff, above flight level 100. If you're not transponder equipped, we need to have an OTAM out. Those get issued the day before. Sant down at Portmoak issues those for us. There will be a notice on the notice board outside the office indicating what today's NOTAMs are, and watch those and have a look. So November 560, this one over here, it's in different colours, but it's all Class E plus transponder mandatory airspace. So to fly in this as a glider without talking to anyone, you need a transponder up and running. The guys controlling this are on 127.275. If you start listening to 127.275 out in this area as you're cruising towards it, you'll hear how busy they are, and you'll get an indication of what's going on there. The procedure for crossing it is you inform air traffic control that you are about to cross, and you tell them where you are. They will relate to the airway markers. There's one goosey. Have a look at the map, it'll tell you what they are, and let the controller know where you are. He may ask you to squawk ident so you can see where you are. He may ask you to wear a squawk. So be prepared to change your squawk as you travel up towards this. Don't get up there not knowing how to change squawk in flight. It's embarrassing. You'll notice there's a little cutout here. This is the goosey box. If you're flying out of Fishy, which is down around here somewhere, they have a letter of agreement to allow them to fly in this. As you're flying out of a Boyne, we have to treat this as part of N560, so it's Class E plus transponder mandatory airspace. Now, if you don't have a transponder and you want to cross this, you still can, but you need permission to cross it. You'll get an authorization, not a clearance, and there is a difference between the two, but you still have to ask. Legally, you have to have your radio license before you can talk to the guys. In practice, talk to the guys. Scottish are on record in writing saying they will never ask to see your license as long as you're using a radio for some legitimate purposes in the air. So this is where we are. So this is from flight level 100 up to flight level 195, medium distance around this. Okay, high level stuff now. So here we are, having a look down from satellite view. Have a notice of this box here. This is our local diamond box. So we tend to operate this one or open this one. If you guys are getting on well in the local area, we'll get this box open. What I do want you to notice is the size of this box. So you can see it there. I'll show you it in 2D. So here's that box in 2D. It goes up as far as Mosset, down towards Loch Mick, and it's not very wide. You'll tend to be climbing around the lochs in the northwesterly. That's the edge of the box there. The eastern side of the box is just by a Boyne. It's not big. Be very wary about getting blown out of that box. Be careful with it, it's quite small. Back to 3D. So you'll notice there's our local wave box that we tend to operate for diamond flights locally. There are boxes to the south. They tend to be operated by Portmoak. We can open them as well. If you have a look, there's ones off to the north and they're operated by Easterton, but again we can get those open if we need to. And above all of those is this beastie here, and this goes from, so the local box is 195 up to 240, and then from 240 all the way to the moon there is this one here. Now we can open this one anytime we want, but it takes 2 hours to get it open. So if you're climbing well and you're coming up, get onto the office 130.105 and get this box opened in good time, otherwise you're going to be parked underneath it at flight level 240, getting cold waiting for the box to open. And the reason it takes 2 hours is the transatlantic stuff coming out of Amsterdam or London tends to fly over here, so we need clearance from Eurocontrol to get that one open, so do it in good time. Okay, so in addition to all the formal airspace stuff that's going on with the maps, outside the office you'll see this board. We've got Charlie Jordan's Simplified Guide to Airspace and Wave Boxes, worth a read, it's very good, clarifies a lot of things that I've said in this video. This one's going to demonstrate what NOTAMs are actually in place today. And then down here you can see a picture of the NOTAM that we have in place. So this is outside the wave boxes. This is just for general cross-country flying. So the NOTAM will say the area and the time it's activated from and when it's active to. And in this map you can see the area that's been covered.
So ahead of me just now is Ben Nevis. There. So that, going all the way up there, is the primary of Ben Nevis. And that over there, fuck knows what that is. However, top of Ben Nevis is at 4,000 and something feet. Go ahead, Scottish, Glider Romeo Golf.
Glider Romeo Golf, just checking the distance system for just a radio check. How do you read?
Reading you 3 actually at the moment. We've got an echo there.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Glider